How's it going everyone, and welcome back to a brand new Star Wars Battlefront 2 video, and today we will be ranking all of the villains from the worst to the best, seeing as the new passive Health on Kill has put a real twist into the hero gameplay in Battlefront 2. So this ranking is absolutely worth doing, as some changes with the villains have been just absolutely massive, whether it be some villains have gotten drastically better or villains have gotten drastically worse. These rankings are massively different to anything I've done in the past, so this one is going to be pretty interesting. And of course the rankings are just my personal opinion, and I will take into account how good they are overall, not just for one specific game mode. Now if you guys want to see me rank all of Battlefront 2's light side heroes from the worst to the best, then be sure to show some support on this video by dropping a like and letting me know in the comments below. And if you are new around here, then feel free to subscribe and click the notification bell for more Battlefront 2 videos just like this one. Actually, I just want to mention before we dive into it, I did check my YouTube analytics for yesterday's video, and only 11% of my viewers actually came from notifications. So if you guys do want to be kept up to date, because YouTube's subscription feed is just an absolute joke, then make sure you are clicking that notification bell so you actually will get notified, at least hopefully. But anyway, enough talk, let's dive into the list. At number 10, kickstarting the rankings and taking out the crown as the worst Battlefront 2 villain is of course Captain Phasma. So I just want to say this now before I get into why she is dead last. I want to clarify that Phasma is very usable and is certainly better than she has been for basically her entire runtime in Battlefront 2. She was pretty horrible for a long time. Her blaster was weak, her staff strikes sucked, and she was too reliant on her droid. Now, most of that is still true. The staff strikes are usable now though, but are very situational. Her blaster is okay, but it definitely needs a damage buff. And she is still very reliant on her droid. And her new star card replacing Health on Kill, which is called Blaster Inspection, is not a very good star card at all. It doesn't really do anything for her. So unless Phasma gets some seriously big buffs, she is just going to have to remain last on my rankings until then. But now onto the number 9 spot, of course, we have Boba Fett. Now I know a lot of people are not going to be happy with this, and you know what, I actually understand. I'm going to put it this way, there are two types of players in the Battlefront 2 community. Those who main Boba Fett and love him, and those who absolutely loathe his existence. I am the one that loathes him. The pesky Boba users in HVV do my absolute head in. Mainly because I am absolutely trash with them and I can't do it back to them. But all jokes aside, I can't ignore that Boba's rocket barrage is one of the best abilities in the game. Like I said, I've never been any good with Boba, so I haven't really turned into one of those annoying Boba players. I do think that the concussion missile, on the other hand, could be a little more effective, but his scanning and jetpack are of course very useful, and again, the rocket barrage is just mean. His Health on Kill replacement star card, Born to Fly, which gives him faster cooldowns while in the air, isn't as bad as Phasma's new card, but it's still not great. So overall, Boba, he is an acquired taste. So I'm putting him fairly low on my list because again, I'm just absolutely rubbish with him. But now onto the number 8 spot is Count Dooku, who has massively dropped since the last time I ranked villains. I think Dooku was like 3rd or 4th last time, so he's gone down the rankings a lot. I have actually found that Dooku in his current state, while not bad, he is definitely not as good as he once was. It seems as if bugs have gotten the best of the Count. Now I don't notice the lightsaber hero issues more with anyone else than I do with Dooku. Half the time when you block with Dooku, it just simply doesn't work, or it just takes too long to actually start blocking. And as you can imagine, that's a massive hindrance in Heroes vs Villains and Galactic Assault and Capital Supremacy, so pretty much everything. I actually hadn't used Dooku for a few months, and when I started playing the crap out of Battlefront 2 again, people actually warned me that he had gone downhill, and I think they were definitely right. He isn't broken, but he has definitely gone downhill. All his abilities work reasonably fine. His Lightning Stun, Expose Weakness, and the always good Duelist ability, they're all fine, but with the state of the game the way it is right now, Dooku is low on the rankings. His new Initiative star card is okay, but it's probably not something anyone will run though. So whilst Dooku is a decent villain, just with the state of the game right now, I'm putting him low on the list. And now moving on to the number 7 spot is Iden Versio. Now Iden for me has always been a really solid villain to play as for pretty much the majority of Battlefront 2. I just don't tend to pick her because when I go to use a villain, I want to use like an iconic character. Iden is just the result of a mediocre campaign. But when I push that aside and actually use her, she is normally, like I said, solid. Her TL50 is up there as one of the best hero blasters in the game. Her secondary fire can one-shot most classes in most situations. Her pulse cannon as well isn't actually half bad, and her shield is pretty useful on maps where starfighters and vehicles are a big presence. And her new shocking weakness star card gives like a budget version of Rey's Insight to her stun droid, so that's not too bad. But overall, Iden is just a solid villain, just not one that I really get excited to use. But on to number 6 now, we have General Grievous, another villain that has kind of slid down the rankings for me. Whilst Grievous is still relatively good, much like Dooku, he kind of has fallen victim a little worse to bugs and the lightsaber issues in the game right now. His claw rush has seemingly been almost rendered worthless in HVV at times, as it just cancels itself the second you receive any damage or run into the smallest rock. Like I said, at times this happens, so it can be very inconsistent. Whether this now is intentional or a bug, I don't know. But either way, it's not good for Grievous. His lightsaber swings as well, they don't register sometimes, and his thrust surge is still very buggy. But his unrelenting advance finally works, and I'm relieved to finally be able to say that. His new Flesh's Weak star card is, again, it's okay. It gives him some damage reduction at the cost of health regeneration, so you kind of got to take the good with the bad there. So Grievous is actually, at least in my experience lately, fairly good in Galactic Assault and Capital Supremacy, but as for heroes versus villains, I would steer well clear of him due to his issues with the claw rush cancelling and the woes of lightsaber combat. But at the halfway mark now at number 5 is your boy Emperor Palpatine. Now Palpatine of course isn't broken anymore thankfully, but he can still be a very strong villain to use, especially in Galactic Assault. His dash makes him fairly agile, allowing you to escape danger quickly, and his Chain Lightning and Dark Aura are very good abilities. However, his shock ability I still am not really a fan of at all. The animation for me is a little too slow, and considering how easy it is to take damage, particularly in those sweaty Galactic Assault lobbies, I tend to just avoid that ability completely. Now Palpatine's new Show No Mercy star card, once fully upgraded, allows for some serious Chain Lightning spam, so it improves on an already great ability, so that's a very fine addition. And I think that Palpatine in the right hands is just really dangerous, much like Boba Fett. But I feel like Palpatine isn't as much of sort of a niche hero as Boba Fett. Like, people who don't main him can still get good kill streaks with him, and I think that's the difference between Palpatine and Boba. But regardless, he is still good fun and can be useful nevertheless. But now on to number 4 is Bossk, the only new hero slash villain that didn't get a health on kill star card replacement. But for me, Bossk has been one of the most consistent heroes in the game, and I feel like in the past 6 months, people have really started to see why Bossk is so good. Sure, we all know he can heal to full health without needing kills, and that's always going to be useful, but in the hands of the right player, a smart and strategic Bossk can literally change the course of a Capital Supremacy or Galactic Assault game like single-handedly. It's that easy. I think Bossk may actually be the best villain, or hero for that matter, in the game for holding down and taking objectives, maybe aside from Anakin. His micro grenades are great and easy to rack up kills with, his Dioxis is great for flushing the enemy out, and his proximity mines are a top shelf ability that can make capping impossible for the light side sometimes. Now his Relby is of course a sniper, which does cover him from long range, and if things get up close, his Relby can do the damage up close. Now I don't really like how his jump was changed, but I mean, it is what it is. I guess we've just got to deal with it now. Nevertheless, Bossk is one of the most well-rounded and effective heroes in the entire game in my opinion. But now moving on to the number 3 spot is none other than Darth Maul. Now I have to say I am really enjoying using Darth Maul lately. I know it's been a while since his saber throw got changed, but the way it is now and with his choke, it's kind of like using a less tanky, more agile Darth Vader, and that is of course a very good thing. I think Maul's agility is a massive upside in Battlefront 2 now more than ever. The games now are full of lobbies with pretty good players, especially on Australian servers. It's just the same dudes in lobbies every night, and they're all players that have heroes leveled up to as high as 800. I kid you not, I actually saw a Bossk the other day that was level 840 or something. It was just ridiculous. But anyway, having a villain that can escape sticky situations and players like that is just that important, I can't even stress it. Now his new Savage star card, which gives a faster recharge on his spin attacks, is an okay star card, but you're probably better off using some of his already existing star cards. So basically Maul has no bad abilities, he's agile, and he isn't really buggy at all, and he is really fun to use. Like, what more can you want? But the runner-up of the rankings, at number 2, we've got Kylo Ren. Now Kylo Ren is without a doubt the most improved villain in the game by far. He was always a very capable villain with really good abilities, but the only issue was the abilities didn't work. But after Kylo getting fixed about 58 times over the course of a year and a half, DICE finally actually fixed the issue with Kylo. And the direct result of that has been an absolutely beastly Kylo Ren. He has improved that much that some YouTubers have remade their hero guides for him, as he is basically an all new hero now. He has arguably the best ability combinations in the entire game. Pulling, freezing, and frenzying, or vice versa, is nearly unstoppable. And I mean, if we just talk about his frenzy ability just for a second, if you see a room of numerous enemies in Galactic Assault, you just know that you can clear that room out with your eyes closed now with Kylo. It's just that easy. And even more so now than ever with his new Power of Darkness star card, which gives you increased lightsaber damage after frenzy is used. So having that, it's like having a baby frenzy for 6 seconds. He's great in Heroes vs Villains, but amazing in Galactic Assault, and he's just a ton of fun to use. I am honestly so glad that he's finally got the justice he deserved, and he's now an absolute monster. But that of course leaves only one, and taking out the crown as the best villain in Battlefront 2, we have Darth Vader. Now Vader is just still an absolute monster in Battlefront 2, and that is how it should be, and it looks like that's the way it's going to stay. His health is just absolutely ridiculous, making him a complete tank. All of his abilities are all useful by themselves, but when used in combination they are borderline unstoppable. If you nail anyone in that force choke, it is pretty much game over for them no matter who they are. The only, and I mean the only real downside to Vader is the vulnerability when using the force choke, but Vader is still a tank, so I mean I'm willing to let that one slide. Now Vader's new Surrounded by Fear star card is an excellent addition. It gives you stamina refreshes after a kill, so you can basically just rogue one hallway scene your way through the team, and I love it. I honestly don't think I need to justify anymore why Vader is an absolute monster on this game, and I hope DICE never touch him again, as I don't want him to become a buggy mess like some of the other villains. Because Vader, once again for me, remains the top dog of Battlefront 2. But guys, those are my updated villain rankings. I of course don't expect that any of you agree with this list, and that's okay. So let me know in the comments below your rankings, and remember to let me know if you want to see the light side heroes next. Then of course I will move on and do heroes and villains in one massive ranking. But anyway, if you guys did enjoy this video, then absolutely feel free to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. But I'm not going to keep you guys here any longer. This video is probably long enough as it is. So thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you all again in the next one.